moving in.
Speak. I have a confession. I was too hasty to judge you. I thought you witless, gutless, unimpressively bland. Yes, all that is true. I am cold as the sea of night. But you have stoked fires I didn't know I possessed. I swear, you would tear the horns off one dragon for plunging into another. You've gained my respect, and more still, my yearning. When I come near, your odor alone is enough to make my neck sweat and my hairs stand on end. If you must know, Vlaakith requires everything of her children. I can't count how many bruises I've inflicted. Can't measure how much blood I've drawn in the undying Queen's name. I know only blood red and death black. My mind is silver, and my body steel. I am what I must be. Say what I must be. To survive every beast I face and every wound I bear. Bah, enough talk. I will be plain. I want to taste you. Perhaps tonight, perhaps later. But I want it all the same. Do you? Your loss, I fear. One day soon, you will wonder how my lips might have tasted, how my fingers on your skin might have felt, and you will wish you could return to this lost moment.
I hope that's the end of this silly quarrel. They'll have no energy for battling our enemies if Lae'zel and Shadowheart are too busy squabbling among themselves.
I'll say one thing for our troop. We're not short on drama. I'm glad Shadowheart and Lae'zel settled their differences peacefully. Eventually. The very same. Karsus was perhaps the most powerful wizard that ever lived. The child who would be a god, the elves called him. And he tried. With a spell of his own devising, he endeavored to usurp in one fell swoop the power of the goddess of magic. Mistral, she was called then. Imagine what it must have felt like to be a god, to know yourself to be untouchable, to be mistaken. The goddess of magic is all magic. By dying, the entire weave was lost and the spell that challenged a god failed. It was the end of Mistral. The end of Karsus and the end of an entire civilization. As the child who would be a god was turned to stone, his empire came crashing down around him. The floating cities of Netheril were no more. An event that came to be known as Karsus's folly. Quite, sir. Now, so many centuries later, I try to follow in the footsteps of Karsus. Not to destroy Mystra, but to prove my love for her. I tried to control only a fraction of the magic that was unleashed that fateful day. I merely sought to return one tiny diamond to an imperfect crown. Gale's folly, one might call it. History, repetition. It's the way things go. I've had a pupil or two, but never for very long. Their ineptitudes tend to irk me. You do seem to be a precocious talent, Bo. I can always tell when I meet a keen mind receptive to Mystra. Keep it up, and she might just take a personal interest in you one of these days.